I need my coffee. I need my coffee. I need my coffee 'cause this is so supportive. I need my coffee. Don't know, Hello and welcome to my channel Critical Coffee Considerations. I'm Francis Peck and this is a new series, Parental Leave Support. Let me explain in a second what that exactly means. And of course the first episode is the slippery slope in parenting from chocolate to coffee. So before you're already thinking this content is just too weird, and of course we have the singing in the beginning, for which I apologize, but I will also share in this video how you can dial in your chocolate gradients for your coffee. But let me first explain how I went from being primarily chocolate focused to being an absolute coffee aficionado. And that's all thanks to my children, actually. Now, when they were born, I was already involved with cancer research, and I was concerned about sugar intake, actually. Also considering the fact that I, in my youth, was an absolute sugar addict, I thought, how can I prevent that? And there's this knowledge that actually newlyborns, the sugar level that they prefer is just natural milk, that they get, of course, from the mothers. And you shouldn't give anything sweeter or it messes up this mechanism and, they become a sugar addict, probably just like me. So I was like, I considered chocolates a slippery slope into too much sugar intake because, well, usually, 70% is already actually rather low on sugar from a certain point of view. It's already dark chocolate at least. 64% is, but you have even 50% sugar in chocolates, and that's just way too much. And of course that is because natural chocolate is by itself very bitter and maybe even a little bit sour, just like coffee actually is, but even more so than coffee. So my idea was no chocolates, not up to the age of 3. And then next to chocolate, I had this also, of course, chocolate, Coca-Cola. I didn't want them to start drinking Coca-Cola or soft drinks. And so to not have a slippery slope into soft drinks, I was like, no water with bubbles, no sparkling water. So I had the saying, which I had to repeat to the grandparents a lot: no gas, no chocolates. That was my rule. Now this establishes how I was focused on chocolate, but not yet on how that brought me on the course of becoming this espresso based coffee aficionado, drinking it of course without sugar. You shouldn't put sugar in your coffee either. So that basically then happened later. Well, first of all, working with grandparents is just a challenge. We all know that. And at some point I knew I had to change this rule because, not just grandparents, but then also going to school and things like this. So I understood I need to be the first to give them chocolate, but not just any chocolate. Chocolate with, a high percentage of cacao mass. And the only way I knew that was going to work is by, leading by example. So this is why I actually have this in the mix. The Lindt chocolates were the ones that actually, at some point, I even tried a 99% one of this. I know there also exists 100%. So this is the one that actually brought me on that, traveling that scale. And the trick is you need to you need to start out with the higher gradient. That's what I learned, because when you try out 99%, and then after that you try 70%, the 70%, well, already tastes too sweet. Actually, back in the day, I was trying 86% after the 99%. I was like, oh, finally I'm able to recognize the sweetness in this chocolate. So that's how I then kind of already started to appreciate these very dark chocolates. And in some way, I believe that's what helped me to appreciate coffee without sugar either. So let's have a taste from this Colombia Kenya mix that I roasted just last week. It is chocolatey by itself. It has some nice citrus flavors inside of the coffee. So let's now find out which chocolate is best suited to enjoy with the coffee. And you have to then go down the gradient. So we have to start first with 80%, then 75, then we'll do 70, and we'll finish with 64. Because if you start in the opposite direction, of course you will only pick up that sugar. You won't be able to even in the tastings afterwards. Of course, I made a small mistake, which is I should have had a glass of water here, but as always, we'll just make do. So now we'll have the 80%. It's called smoky and terroir, earthy. Smoky and earthy. A nice thing is, I already like it. So I'm afraid that it's not going to get any better. In the shop, unfortunately, they didn't have any 90% or higher, so I had to make do with the selection at hand. This would be a nice experiment to do with the chocolate wine, actually. If you're watching this, let's repeat this episode. Yes, see again. It is already getting sweeter. They're claiming it's fruity and bitter. Actually, if you look on the back, often they add natural vanilla or aroma. So I guess they do add a bit of vanilla to their mixtures. And why not? If you're already adding that much sugar, yeah, at least add a little bit of vanilla for flavor as well. Okay, this 70% starting to have just less character. When you're trained in avoiding sugar, you just you cannot really even pick up. It's more a neutral one. It's just more intense. It's not really mentioning any specific flavors like this brand's Delicata for every moment. That almost sounds like a song from The Sound of Music. So this one is saying, again, fruity and a fresh sour. If you really go searching for it, you might find it. But it's starting to make the coffee. Okay, the sound is coming more from the coffee. So then, of course, we went down the slope. Let's go up again. And see if we can really dial in. The coffee flavors come a lot more to their expression by moving up the scale. I'm not saying that by eating chocolate with a lot of sugar you cannot enjoy your coffee. you know, we always enjoy the coffee, but if you're looking for the different flavors, okay, actually, I guess I am in this scenario landing on 75 as being the favorite. In the combination, it gave me most flavors across both. So I would have liked to say that it was the 80%, but it is in this case really more the 75. So go and explore. You can, if you're from Belgium and the Bruges area, I will have these bars of chocolate in my coffee bar. So if you come by and you order an espresso, you can get free taste experiments here as well. If you're not from Belgium but from Europe, you can support me and my parental leave by buying coffee. And if you're from outside of Europe, especially America, like and subscribe. This is going to help me here in Belgium as well, because this parental leave for me, so kind of share how my kids, having kids, helped me to become this coffee sommelier, you could say, although I don't have a certificate for it. But then, of course, I was on this road, and then I started the business thanks to my kids. And thanks to my kids, I also have this right to take up parental leave, which now I will have for 8 months. I'm just working 50%. So 50% for the garden and 50% for my kids. But I'm still leading by example, and one of the examples is having this business. This is how I see that as being very educational. So you can help me show to my kids that I'm a success by coming to the coffee bar, trying out espressos with the chocolate, buying the coffee I roast it to the level that you actually prefer, and it's all specialty grade. Either the Arabicas or the Robustas are fine, so it's all high quality coffees. Or you can support me from further away by liking and subscribing, sharing comments. What could I share in this parental leave support? Because why do I need to support? It's actually, I get this parental leave, but you don't get the full financial backing. I was inspired to then finally take it up as a father because of a friend, Mr. T, who's living in Sweden, and that's the parental leave paradise. And I had already experimented having 1 month of parental leave that I took as a 4/5, so I had 1 day, and then I was just doing the parental chores. So I knew I needed to do the 50% to get some time in making videos like these, and then having the weekends fully free to enjoy with my kids and, of course, be a father. So I hope this was inspirational for you as well. I hope you go and try out and find that level of sugar in your chocolate that's just, best for you, and that will be a bit different depending on your average daily sugar intake as it is at this moment. As a researcher, as a scientist, I can only recommend, try and reduce that, for health benefits. Chocolate and coffee, they are proven to be beneficial for your health. So, it's a win-win situation. You start exploring those tastes, how they combine, and your life is getting healthier. Wow, and see you next time.